And we are live. Welcome, mystery and thriller fans. I'm your on-air host, Sara DiVello, and I am so excited to welcome tonight New York Times best-selling, award-winning author Jean Kwok, here to give us the inside scoop in this exclusive pre-launch Q&A tell-all about her brand new book, The Leftover Woman, out next Tuesday. Jean, welcome to Mystery and Thriller Mavens. Tell us about this book.
Sara, you are so amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I am completely thrilled and honored to be here and talking to you. So basically, The Leftover Woman, it's about what happens when a young woman in China gives birth to a baby and is told shortly afterwards that her baby had died. However, she finds out a few years later that her baby had not died, but rather been placed for adoption by her own husband to a wealthy American couple. And, it's in that child, her daughter, is another casualty of China's controversial one-child policy. And when the book opens, Jasmine, the birth mother, has followed her daughter to New York City to try to get her back, with her husband hot on her heels.
Well, Jean, I cannot wait to talk to you about this book because we have so much to talk about. There is so much to talk about this book and so many questions I have. And the praise, oh my God, most anticipated book by, oh wait, everybody. I cannot wait. So many exciting news, so much exciting news to share. And we're going to get into every delicious bit. But first, I just want to welcome everyone. So we are broadcasting live to 7 different destinations across Facebook and YouTube. So hi, mystery and thriller loving friends. No matter where you're watching from, this is the right place. This is the right time. It is Mystery Monday. And because Mondays can be murder, we're going to make them a little less painful for you. So if you've been here before, you know the drill. And if you're new, welcome. We're so happy to have you. Here's the drill. Every Monday, I give you my handpicked featured authors, and you get to ask them anything. So ask Jean Kwok, a New York Times bestselling, award-winning author whose work is being taught around the world in colleges, universities, and high schools. Anything you want about her writing process, about this book, her personal connection to it. We have so much to get going. So get those questions going in the comments, and I'll get them right over to her. Let's jump on in. Anissa, welcome to the conversation. She's joining us live from South Carolina. She says, hello, Sara and Jean. I love this book so much. And Anissa actually messaged me earlier to say she has been a fan of yours for many years, Jean, and she has begun following you and messaging, following your incredible work when your last book was a GMA book pick. Congratulations.
Jenna. Today's show
book pick, and she's been following your career since then. Christine, welcome to the conversation. She says, I'm very excited about this book. When did you find out that you were a book of the month pick?
Yeah, I found out a little while ago, and I was absolutely sworn to secrecy. So it's one of those things where they're like, we will tell you, but if you go tell your girlfriends, we will have to kill you and probably unpick you. So you're like, but yes, basically I found out, I don't know exactly when, but not super long ago, but probably a little while ago. And then, we knew it was happening, and that was just completely exciting. And I'm just so glad that it's now out, and all the book of the month people can hopefully choose and read my book. Yes, it's such an honor.
So if you are a book of the month subscriber, friends, you can pick The Leftover Woman because Jean is a book of the month pick. Congratulations on that. Jean, this is so amazing. Lynn joining us from Connecticut. She says, I can't wait to read this. Oh, Lynn, you are in luck because it comes out next Tuesday, and you can order from our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore, Murder by the Book. So exciting. Jet, welcome to the conversation. Nice work, Jean Kwok. Robin, welcome to the conversation, saying hello, Robin. We have a mystery user joining us saying everyone is talking about this book. It must be very good. Literally everyone is talking about this book. It is all over my feed. Every time I log on to social media, there it is. Everyone is talking about this. Plus, most anticipated book by, everyone. So this is so exciting. Robin says, wow, what a title. And she'd like to know the story behind it. Tell us about the story. Sorry,
Well,
someone else
actually,
the story behind it.
yeah, I think that's really a great question because this was one of those books where like the title was a gift, and I knew the title from the very beginning. I mean, there are other books where it's like you're coming down to launch. I mean, Sarah will know this, of course, as an author herself, where it's just like you are like, I don't have the right title, or your editor is like, that's not going to fly. Like the title that you thought you were going to use, we are not going to use that title because it's like a terrible title. So you're like, they're like, well, we can't launch the book without a title. I mean, you can launch a book, even if the book isn't done, but you cannot launch it with the wrong title. Because if you do, everyone will get all excited about a book that basically does not exist once you change the title. So The Leftover Women is a reference to a term that's now used by the Chinese government as propaganda. And so just to back up, like the one-child policy in China was when the Chinese government thought that there were just way too many babies being born, and they restricted every family to one kid only. In Chinese culture, where there's a strong preference for boys and where people felt like the family line, the religion, everything was connected to having boys in your family, there became a vastly skewed male-female ratio where at this point there are 32 million more Chinese men than women. 32 million. So what happened is that their policy succeeded so much that they've had to do a complete turnaround. And instead of being like, oh, you're not allowed to have more than one child, which really resulted in so many Chinese girls being placed for adoption, being abandoned, being aborted. I mean, there's a reason that 32 million more men than women. So it's like, something happened to all those Chinese women. So because of that, they've done a complete about face. And now they're like, if you're a woman in your late 20s, do not be a leftover woman. And being a leftover woman means being a person who is useless, of no use to your country. You're like a leftover that's being thrown away on the plate. And we're talking like women in their late 20s, right? They're being targeted by these campaigns that are saying that you need to get married and have kids, basically. Because, at a certain point, they were like, well, fine, you don't want us to have kids. We won't. So that's what the term is a reference to.
Wow, Jean, I didn't realize, I did not know that this was now, because we have this 32 million more boys than girls in China now, that now they have switched the propaganda to now trying to get women to force them into marriage, but we still have this huge disparity in numbers. Wow. Christine saying,
Absolutely.
wow, that is a huge difference. 32 million. Geez. Oh my God. Okay. Wow. So leftover one. Barbara, welcome to the conversation, saying, I am the mom of a child adopted from China, and I highly recommend this book. I'm a big fan of Jean's. Wow, Barbara, especially meaningful coming from you.
Yeah, and also from the mom of someone who's adopted the book, I'm so glad, because I have to say that there have been people who have adopted a child from China who are like, is your book gonna break my heart? And it's not. I mean, I try because the book is told from the point of view of Jasmine, the birth mother, and Rebecca, the adoptive mother, and I really try to give them equal weight. It's such a complicated issue, and it's not a book that's going to come down and slam either side of the story. It's really about finding unity and finding the things that we have in common as opposed to the things that drive us apart.
beautifully said, Jean, and more important than ever to create these kinds of conversations. Barbara, thank you for being with us tonight, and thank you for saying that. Lynn saying, hi, Jean from Connecticut. I love you. Beautiful.
Love you too.
Randy joining us from YouTube saying, this sounds like an amazing read. Randy, I love that little black kitty. Jean, you're a cat fan.
I am.
So bonus.
I'm a little bit obsessed with cats, and actually, I always put my real cats in my book. So I know my kids are like, "What about us?" I'm like, "Forget you." But I love my cats. And so in every single one of my novels, all the cats are based on real cats that I have or have had. And in The Leftover Woman, the cat is Calypso, who's my little calico. And she is like the smallest cat in the household. She's so physically small, but she's really, really feisty. So she kind of terrifies all the other cats.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. So in the book, Jasmine brings Calypso home from the self-defense studio where she's taking classes and rescues little Calypso for Fiona, her daughter. Oh my God, I love that. Anissa, an incredible bookstagrammer extraordinaire, would like to know, she said, Jean, do you lead your characters or do they lead you? Is it different at different points of your writing of the book?
Well, that is an excellent question. And I just also have to give credit to Anissa because Anissa's actually in the acknowledgements of The Leftover Woman because I needed information, and in the process of doing research, I needed to know just things about schools, about weapons, about Anissa is a font of information, knows everything. So she was a huge help to me while I was doing research. Anyway, I think this is such a great question. And I mean, Sara, you know as well, because Sara, as you guys might know, is of course also an incredible author in her own right of Broadway Butterfly, which just came out and was the CBS New York Book Club pick. So, I mean, I think that it's always, don't you think, Sara, it's kind of a combination between the character leading or you leading the character? Like, I always kind of have to go back and forth to balance the needs of the character and the story. What do you think about that?
Ooh, Jean, I mean, I just want to hear from you because you're so amazing and you're so, I mean, your career is so established and so respected. And my God, your books are taught across the world. So I am here to listen and to learn to you.
Thank you, Sara. But I mean, you're an amazing author in your own right. So do you, because your characters, look, guys, the characters in Broadway Butterfly, Sara's new novel, they are so, I just really fell in love with them. I mean, which is a true crime thriller. It's based on a true crime committed in the 1920s. And when I actually moderated Sara's book launch in New York, and we both went full flapper in the flapper outfits. But her book, I really felt like you fall in love with the characters. And those are kind of the best types of books, I think, where you love the characters so much. I mean, did you feel like they were leading you, Sara, or not?
Jean, I did, because I feel like because my characters are real people, it was really important to me to honor the entirety of them. And so I spent so much time learning about them. And I know you spent so much time, doing research and really getting into your characters as well, that I wanted to learn enough about them that they would lead me. And I feel that they did. But I think your way of describing going back and forth is actually really brilliant. And I haven't heard anyone say that before, because of course you do want them leading you, but then you also have to be aware that as the creator of the story, you have to be guiding the narrative arc and keeping the action going, which you do so masterfully through every chapter. At the end of every chapter, you've got that hook that keeps us going, that question, that anxiety, the pressure bearing down. And if you leave it all up to the characters, they may take you on a lovely day journey and not keep you actually going.
No, I think that's so true. And I actually, like, I am an outliner in that I do work from an outline, but a very, very general, rough plan of what will happen. But I go back and forth. I actually do a lot of outlining after I write, so that I may well like write a couple of chapters and then I'll re-outline what I've just written, just so I have a bird's eye view of the structure and the plot and the pacing. So I can be like, well, I mean, I kind of fell in love with my character here, and we wandered around a while and had a picnic, but that's like might not be the most interesting thing for the reader to follow along with. So I got to cut that or move it or change it. But indeed, sometimes you plan something and you're like, oh, I'm so brilliant. This awesome twist is going to come up. And then you get to the scene and you're like, oh, it's going to be so hot. They're going to fall in love. They're going to have transgression. And then your character's like, no, I'm not going to do him. And you're like, and then you're like, oh, all right, okay, so that whole love idea thing, that was a total fizzle. We've got to replan the whole book because she like refuses to have anything to do with this guy. And you're like, okay, well, so there we go. Break it apart. Here we go again.
Jean, let me ask you, when you have had a scene like that, when you have the scene planned, I'm laughing out loud at the idea of it's going to be so hot, and then it just fizzles. Who do you think where is that coming from? Because you're the creator of the story. These people are imaginary. They don't exist outside of Jean Kwok's brilliant head. But if they're telling you, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do him. Where's that coming from? Where is the source? Where do you think?
Well, they take on their own life. I mean, that's the thing. It's like the more pages you have, the more they're alive. At the beginning, when you've only got a sentence, they're not really like physical yet. But the more you've written and the more decisions they've made, the more they really exist. And believe me, readers, we can tell from our group here tonight, readers are so smart. Sometimes I'm like, couldn't you guys be a little bit dumber? Like, it would make my life easier if you were a little bit less perceptive. But we've all had that, where you're reading a book and the heroine does something, you're like, oh God, you are too stupid to live. Like, why did you do that dumb old thing? And like, it makes you feel violated. It makes you feel angry with the book. And you can't do that. So you have to be true to the character, because your readers are going to know. They're going to feel it and be like, no, I really don't think that they would have done that. That doesn't feel right. And, you have to kind of respect that faith they have in you.
Oh my God, Jean, that is so well said, because nothing is as infuriating as when you can tell the author has done this. Nanette, welcome to the conversation, saying this is such a great discussion. Nanette, thank you. Thank you for being here, because nothing is more infuriating than when you're like, okay, you just want to get the book from point A to point B, and you're using something ludicrous, which is making us feel that this person is literally too dumb to live. And that happens to me, and I do get infuriated. So y'all, I just want to take a brief pause to remind you, the book is not even out yet. Jean Kwok is coming on tonight with this very exclusive sneak peek to take your most burning questions about this red hot book that, as folks have pointed out, is literally everywhere. You do not want to miss out. So you can pre-order tonight, no matter where you're watching from, Facebook or YouTube. Click this link and pre-order. The good folks at Murder by the Book will ship it out to you next Tuesday so that you can get your hands on The Leftover Woman and immerse yourself in the worlds of Jasmine and Rebecca. And I want to know whether you're Team Jasmine or Team Rebecca. I am Team Jasmine, but let me know, because a lot of people are saying they are Team Rebecca, which is very interesting for me to see. Robin saying, yes, as readers, we invest in the characters, and that's why I love series. I want more. Yeah, tell us.
That's so nice, isn't it? Isn't that the best, when you love, like, a character seems so real to you that you love them and you want to continue spending time with them? That's just the best.
Oh, thank you, Jean. That's so lovely. Lecha joining us live from Texas saying, hello, Sarah and Jean. Hi, Lecha. Welcome to the conversation. Anissa saying, this is such a great conversation, so enlightening. Anissa of the acknowledgements. I love that. Mitzi Ito, welcome to the conversation, saying, hi, classmate. Where are you these days?
That is
undisclosed location. She's very mysterious.
That's actually a great question, because I am traveling so much. So as you know, I met a Dutch guy. I married him. I moved to the Netherlands despite having grown up in New York. but we are getting divorced, sadly. So I am, kind of transitioning. I'm splitting my time between New York and the Netherlands now. At this very moment, I am actually back in the US because I'm preparing to go on book tour, and I have events that are happening before launch, but the actual launch event is next Tuesday. So if you're in New York City, please come to the Strand. Is on my website. Sarah's going to be there too, and come say hi to us live. But I'm actually traveling all around, and I would love to see you. So the schedule's on my website. There are actually even more events than are on the website right now, but I will be updating that very soon.
I just dropped the link, to Jean's website /event, jeankwok.com/events. And you can see Jean is literally going everywhere, and she is going, she's saying to add even more events. But Morristown Book Festival, October 7th, before the book is even out, launching in New York. I will be there. I will be taking pictures and videos, capturing the entire thing, so that if you can't be there, you can be part of the magic. You can pre-order tonight from the link that I just shared. But you have so many incredible places. The Boston Book Festival, if you're in Boston, October 14th, then going up to Vermont for a book festival up there. So Jean is literally going ever. She's going to be outside of Philadelphia and Doylestown, PA. There's so many incredible events. She'll be back in Boston at the Lenox Hotel with Reading with Robin. She'll be in Iceland for Iceland Noir. You guys aren't going to want to miss this. Oh, Barbara's saying she's going to come see you in Morristown. Hooray.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is so great. That's so great. And, so let's just take a second to talk both as authors about pre-orders and why pre-orders are really so important for us. And I'm sorry if it feels like we're constantly, pre-order the book, pre-order the book. The reason is just because those numbers, the pre-orders all count for the first week of sales. So I'm publishing in October, which is the most heavy hitting season. I'm publishing together with people like James Patterson. And indeed, Sara won her CBS New York Book Club pick, which is incredible. I am in the top 3, but I'm up against James Patterson, who's got 425 million books he sold. So the thing is, and please do vote for me. The book is the link is, I don't know. The link is everywhere. It's on my website. So please, please, please do vote for me, because, it would be nice. But the reason it's important to pre-order is because all of the orders until the first week of sales count for the first week. And so it's our best chance of hitting the list, or hitting any list. And the powers that be, who make a lot of decisions about how much more money they're going to pump into the book, or if they're going to pull the book, or all of that, they look at that first week of orders. So it kind of of course, it's amazing to order our books at any point. But it's if the pre-orders going and the first week are just amazing. So it's if you are maybe I'll buy it in a month, or I'll get it now. It really helps any offer you want to support to get it right before the book comes out, or in that first week, right? I mean, Sara, did you think that as well for your book?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Jean, you are saying it so well. And so it's actually because I think a lot of people don't know how it works. And so, publishing is a very mysterious and hidden industry. And so I think this transparency and this honesty and this openness is so important. So here is the reason that it's important to pre-order. And a lot of people will ask, how can I support an author I like, or how can I help a book to succeed? And the answer is this is one of the most powerful ways to do that. So you can order Jean's book. You can pre-order it tonight, and that is really helpful to her as an author. And so I pre-ordered it already myself. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is as well. And this is where you can pre-order, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. And if you're, like she said, if you're thinking about it, now's a great time to do it, because it is most helpful to the author before the book comes out. So here is that link. And Chana, thank you, saying pre-order. It is fabulous. Yes, absolutely, Chana. Thank you so much. And Jean is in a CBS New York book club finalist. And y'all, we got to get out the vote and get her to win. So here is that link. I voted for her, and I hope you'll consider it too, because we can get her to win. I know we can get her over the finish line. So here's that link to order. Jack, welcome to the conversation, saying, we love you, Jean. I will see you in the San Francisco Bay Area. Patricia saying, I'm thinking of ordering the audio version. Did you have, and yes, any version, reading is open to all. Did you have any input on the audiobook?
Yes, I did. And it's always really fun because what they'll do is they will narrow down the voices to, really like incredible talent, maybe 5 or 10 per role for the book. So the audiobook, of course, this book is told in 2 points of view, from Jasmine's point of view and Rebecca's point of view, the adoptive mother and the birth mother. And so I got to listen to all of this talent, and I picked each of them. And if I'm like, no, I don't like any of them, then they find more people to send to me. And you're kind of, when I'm listening for a voice that feels like, she fits the character, and where you feel like when there's more than one actress involved, where, they sound different enough that it's not going to be confusing to the reader, to the listener, but yet they go together. They kind of feel like they inhabit the same world. I just got to hear a small clip of the audiobook just last week, and oh my gosh, sounds amazing. They sound exactly the way I pictured them in my head. So I really hope you enjoy it.
Oh my gosh, this is so wonderful. Yvette saying she voted, she ordered, and she is looking forward to the read. Oh, fantastic, Yvette. Thank you so much. Christine saying, I bought the book of the month, but I also pre-ordered the audio. I love having both options. Woo! Thank you, Christine. Patricia saying, I voted for Jean already. And I recommended searching for Sylvie Lee to so many friends. Oh my God, the power of the word of recommendations, the power of a close friend, trusted friend recommending a book has been proven to move the needle more than almost anything. So that word of mouth is so powerful. Thank you so much for doing that. John joining us from Northeast Ohio. Hi, John. Welcome. Sharon saying, I will be seeing you in Minnesota in 2 weeks.
Oh, yay.
Welcome, Sharon. Always so great to see your name pop up. We look forward to when you two will meet. Oh my goodness, there are so many comments. I'm going to get to all of them. Leach is saying your book sounds like such a great book. Thank you so much. She wants to know, Jean, who has been your hardest character to write about, and why was that? So was it easier to write Jasmine or Rebecca?
They were both so hard because, in a way, they were easy because there's so much of me in both of them, right? I'm the youngest of 7 children, and I grew up in a really, really traditional Chinese household. So I understand Jasmine's feeling of like being oppressed and like voiceless and not being seen and not having any agency until she decides, I'm going to take back the power and I'm going to get my daughter back. So I understand that. But Rebecca, of course, is a modern woman. She's smart, she's ambitious, she's successful, she's wealthy. She has a lot of choices, but she's got all these balls she's got to keep up in the air. She's judged really hardly, for being a woman. People are much harder on her than they would be if she was a man. And she just doesn't have an easy life either. And I can understand that 100% as well. And she absolutely, desperately loves her adopted Chinese daughter. So they were, both characters were really fun to write, but they were also difficult. And the fact is that this book is an impossible dilemma. It's, our log line is something like 2 mothers, 2 worlds, 1 impossible choice. And as the author, it's my job to resolve that for the reader in a way that you guys don't come running after me with pitchforks. And so I was really like, I just had to get the story working right so that in the end, we have a kind of balanced and nuanced vision of both these women, and that hopefully we really love and root for both of these women. But there is still a solution. There's one child. Somebody gets the child. There's only one person. There's only one mom who's going to be able to raise that kid. And so that was maybe the hardest. It wasn't even just the character, it was just making the story work out in a way that felt right.
Ooh. Jean, how long did it take you to write this book?
A couple of years, probably like 3 years, 4 years. So, and I've been thinking about it for a long time before then. And then in the
Mm.
writing process, I mean, I have to say there was a point in the book when like every character was like, in jail, in bed with each other, or dead. Like I just killed them all off at some point because it was like, how am I going to make this work? Who's the bad guy? No, I know. No. Who's the bad woman? No. That's not going to work either. So I had to really make it work out.
Oh my God. Yes, I love this. Christine saying, I absolutely love this conversation. Fascinating. And I can't imagine how emotional it will be. Christine, it is so emotional. And I will have to say, Jean's revelation of the backstory about China's one child policy, which I am, I will confess, I had never thought of the outgrowths of. I thought, oh my God, that's so restrictive. That's so awful. Like, how can I bear to live like this? But I never thought about how that echoed outward, that rippled outward, and the devastating downstream generational consequences. So this was so thought provoking, and I love a page turning thriller, but I also like a book with meat. I like to learn. I like to think. I like to when I know a book has stayed with me, and I cannot stop thinking about the impossible choice and which choice I would have made if I was one of these women. And I think you will also be. I think we'll all be thinking about this. I don't think anyone walks away from this book and doesn't think deeply about this. So, Christine, I know you're going to enjoy this. And I just want to make sure I get into all these questions because they're all so amazing, you guys. Thank you so much for chiming in and thank you for being here. And Nanette saying, this is such a great discussion. Someone else saying, such a great discussion. Yes, thank you so much for being here. Anissa saying, this is so enlightening about the publishing process. Yeah, I think it's important to have these conversations because I think it doesn't work as, nobody knows how it works. Diane joining us from YouTube saying, good evening, Sarah and Jean. Hi, Diane. So great to see your name pop up. Thank you for joining us. So, okay, I want to talk about some of the, tell me, Jean.
Yeah, no, and I just want to say about the one child policy, what's really fascinating is that it has had such a tremendous impact on China. I mean, it's really, I hardly know any Chinese person who hasn't been affected by that policy one way or another, because, can you imagine if you were only allowed to have one child, right, in a society like that, and yet almost nothing has been written about it. I mean, there have been nonfiction books, there have been nonfiction articles. I have not found fiction set, even, and we all love historical fiction, but I have not found fiction dealing with that issue, which is amazing to me. I mean, I'm sure maybe there is, but I just did it. It's not common. So I just thought this is just a great, it's a great topic that I hope the book is like a thrilling, propulsive, romantic, emotional read for people. But I do, like Sara said, hope that, you also learn something from it. Indeed.
Yeah, and I think this book does that, Jean. It really does it so effectively in a way that, you don't feel like you're, sitting down to take a lecture like a nonfiction book. You're not sitting down to a class. You're just absorbing it in the most human, compelling, soul-searching way, which is just so beautifully, powerfully, poignantly done. And I want to get into some of the incredible praise that this book has earned. So first of all, a most anticipated book by the New York Times, Elle, People Magazine, The New York Post, Goodreads, Crimereads, LibraryReads, Pop Sugar, and so many more. So just to see the attention and the conversation that this book is generating is so incredible. Lucy Foley, who is the #1 New York Times bestselling author of most recently The Paris Appointment, who came on the show to launch that book, calls this at once a hugely atmospheric and suspenseful mystery and a compelling exploration of motherhood and belonging that packs a profound emotional punch. I couldn't stop thinking about this book. Lucy was pregnant when she came on the show, so I imagine that was even more meaningful to her, having just given birth. She's not the only one raving. Laura Dave, #1 New York Times bestseller, raving a magnetic meditation on secret histories, motherhood, love, and how we should show up for each other in the most surprising of ways. A beautiful, provocative story. So it got caught off a little bit there. A beautiful, propulsive story coming from Laura Dave there. Robin wants to know, what year did the one-child policy start?
It started, I think, in the early 80s, but I am not sure. I do have this information written down somewhere, but I just don't know it off the top of my head. It was in play for many, many years. I mean, I think it's only recently been abolished. They raised it to 2, and that now they've just totally gotten rid of it. But it really affected generations of people. And so in my novel, Jasmine herself was an early product of the one-child policy, because we will find out, was actually abandoned as a baby and for being a girl. And then her own daughter is also taken from her in this way.
Which is, yeah. And when I got to the part where we find that out about Jasmine, I literally gasped. Anne, welcome to the conversation, saying, so you started with this problem, I assume, and then you plotted the story, or did you try to get into the head of each woman to figure out where the story might go? P.S. I'm pre-ordering a copy for your formal social studies teacher and mine too, Sue Eichler. Oh, how wonderful. Thank you, Anne. How meaningful.
Well, and it's great to hear from you. And by the way, just for if there are any other Hunterites out in the audience who are listening, because I went to Hunter College High School, my book launch at the Strand is co-sponsored by Hunter, and there are going to be a lot of Hunter people there. So, I mean, it's open to the public, so everybody can go, though it is ticketed and it could sell out. So you do need to get a ticket, but the ticket will include a book, and there's an open bar and like hot cocktails. It's going to be like a major party for anyone who can go. And Sue Eichler was like a beloved social studies teacher of mine in high school. So indeed, I go back and forth. Like, I have a kind of germ. It started with the feeling. Of, being a girl in a really male-dominated society. And that's how I grew up. And that was kind of the beating heart of this book. And then, it grew into all the people I knew who had been affected by the one-child policy and the discrimination that happens against women in a situation like that. And I just think it's so telling that, there was such a preference for men, and now we're getting the blame again, with a title like The Leftover Women, because now it's the women's fault for not bearing children, so just that was kind of the emotional heart of it. And then from there, Jasmine was born. And once Jasmine was born, that attached itself very quickly to the one-child policy and then to Rebecca. Because, I needed a counterpart to Jasmine that I thought would kind of bring her into the modern world and into New York. And once I had that, I really had the story. But then it was a matter of massaging all of the characters and all of the different elements and plot lines so that the whole was something beautiful and moving and, cohesive.
Which it is all of those things, beautiful and moving and cohesive. And Anne, I put the link in the comments to the Strand event for you so that you can go ahead and grab your ticket. I already got mine, so I will be there, and I will be asking Jean to sign my book. So I hope to meet you there. Leach is saying, wow, your book party sounds awesome. I know. I was like, wait, I didn't know there was an open bar. Now I'm going to buy 2 tickets.
I know. We haven't actually really advertised that part because it's just like, I don't know. I've just kind of been like, oh my God, if people know they're going to come just for the open bar, I mean, that's fine. Come, just come, but yeah, but do come and get a book signed by me while you're at it.
I'm coming for the book and the amazing conversation that Jean will be having with Nicole Dennis. Barbara saying the first adoptions for China were also in the late 80s. And Nisa, our resident librarian and bookstagram extraordinaire, saying the policy started in 1980. Lisa saying it's so good it was finally abolished. Yes. Although it's interesting because we're still seeing the fallout of that. Chana saying, my son learned about the one-child policy this year in 9th grade, world geography, and I was able to have an in-depth conversation with him because of reading The Arc of the Leftover Woman. Thanks, Jean. Ooh, I think we'd all like to hear more about that, Chana. How fabulous. That must have been a really great conversation to have with your son. Christine saying, I love learning things from books, and I did not know about the policy. Oh, see, isn't that so cool? You're going to learn so much, Christine. It is so fascinating and so great. The book is so fascinating and so great. Y'all, we are out of time. Time flies when you're having this much fun. Robin saying, I do remember hearing about the policy on the news, and I was a newlywed. It really hit me that the government could make such a personal decision. Indeed, it is not good when governments are making personal decisions for us in any country. Anissa saying, hey, if the open bar sells books, ... Anissa, get your tuchus on a flight up here and come join us. So anyway, you guys, the book is available for pre-order now. So here again is that link for to pre-order tonight. So whether you are watching on Facebook or YouTube, you're going to want to get your mitts on The Leftover Woman. You don't want to be left out of this conversation or this read, because it is indeed, as someone said, the book that everyone's talking about. So here is that link one more time. Pre-order tonight, as Jean shared so helpfully about why pre-orders matter. So grab your link, grab your copy from the link right here. Anissa saying, thank you so much, ladies. Oh, Anissa, thank you for being here and for all you do for books and readers and children and libraries. Leisha saying she knew about the policy, but she didn't know that it had been abolished. It's really great that it finally was. Good for you for writing a book pertaining to this policy. Absolutely, Leisha. Y'all, thank you for joining me for Mystery Monday. I hope that your week is off to a killer start, and I will see you next week with While Idaho Slept, a true crime book about those shocking murders that we all witnessed last year in Idaho. That's a wrap for us. Have a great night.